Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's London Java Community Lightning Talks. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Abby. I work with Barry Cranford, who's the founder of the LJC, and I have the privilege of hosting our events and running the LJC. So the LJC is just one of the communities that is run by RecWorks. We currently run about 15 different tech communities. We are a tech recruitment company with a massive difference. So as a company, RecWorks believe that recruitment really can be a force for good in the industry beyond just placing people in jobs. We have a particular focus on learning, mentoring, and personal development. So if people want to learn and others want to teach or share their knowledge, we are happy to connect you through our communities and events. We see this as giving back to those we've worked with in the past, but also paying it forward to those we hope to work with in the future. We have to date run over 700 events for engineers and developers, students, graduates, CTOs. We have run conferences, lightning talks, hackathons, all sorts. In January of this year, we made our 4,000th introduction through our Meet a Mentor program. We're really looking forward to seeing where that's going to go next. As I've already said, we love to give opportunities for people to connect, and this event is part of that. If you'd like to know more about any of our other communities, as I said, we've got about 15 at the moment. Please do get in touch with me or Barry or Helen Lewis if you know her, and we can take it from there. The recording of today's session will be on YouTube. I will put the link in the chat channel at the end. It's usually available after a couple of days. Or you can message me on LinkedIn and I'll be able to send you the recording as well. We have 4 speakers for you this afternoon, and I'm really excited to hear from each of them. And kicking us off today is Nikita. Over to you.
Okay, can you hear me? Is that fine? Yeah, thank you guys. So first of all, yes. I want to say thank you to whole AJC and to Abby in particular, because my life has completely changed after you gave me free tickets to DevOps conference. Like this stuff, every single letter, it's you, Abby. So thank you. Although next time we should bring the cookies first. Okay, because we didn't bring any goodies to the conference, not on the first day. So. Together we open source is the name of my talk. I will be very fast, guys, and let me know if I'm too fast. But yeah, I only have 5 minutes. I prefer to ask questions. So my name is Nikita Koshulev. Well, I work in a company which provides you cards with 2 circles on them, one orange, one red. It's a really nice company, and I also created this meetup. Together we open source. It's free to join. It's online. Firstly, remote first, and yeah, I concentrate on helping disprivileged people and underrepresented groups. So, but everybody is welcome. I'm not pushing away anybody. So, 3 reasons why I love open source. So, the reason number 1 is that well, maybe because I'm autistic, maybe some other reason, but it's very hard for me to learn from something when I know that I will just write a home project and I will put it in the drawer. So it's my whole essence resists against it, because from watching a movie I will benefit in some measurable way, but from doing code and not, which doesn't do anything, just for fun. Even websites like Exercism.io, they're beautiful websites, but it's just not for me. I prefer to do something which will make somebody feel good, which will create something useful. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2, why I love open source, guys. If only I knew how easy it is, probably I wouldn't have gone to university. No, I will definitely not have gone to university, like absolutely. Comparing to, no, maybe MIT if it's free, but it's so easy. You literally open a GitHub window in Chrome, you press E key, and actually you click on fork, and you have already contributed. So it's just one button click. You don't need to be a developer. And everybody can do it. So my meetup concentrates on showing people that there are that many jobs in IT. We need that many people, and only that small portion is developers. We need test engineers, test managers, scrum masters, dev advocates. We need a ton of people, HR people. and all of them designers, like you name it. So we really need a lot of people. And my true love, I think because of LJC, I found my true love. My true love is bringing people into open source by finding their love. So if you really, really love to learn all the alphabets of Hindi, I will find a way for you to shine even better with open source. And there's actually a real use case for that study. So yeah, so you don't have to code, really. It's not necessary, like at all. Okay, and third one, well, actually, my LinkedIn blew up, guys, because before I started doing open source, it's not enough just to do open source, but that's what my meetup about. But before I started doing it in a specific way, from 20 views per 3 months, I'm currently at 960 as of this morning, and I started in May. So I have 360 subscribers on Twitter, although I'm subscribed to 2,600. So, well, it's not, and I have in my group, the meetup which I created, it grew up from 1 person on the 5th to 119 as of like a few minutes before when I checked last time. So, and if I had more time, so yeah, and it helped me to find my mojo. So now I know what I live for, like, because I'm a dev advocate, basically built for this stuff. So, and that's my favorite scene from one of my favorite cartoons. This cartoon made me cry. I'm not sure it's because I'm autistic or something. Men do cry, especially in Kung Fu Panda. But enough talk. Let's do some open source. So if you have any questions, ask them now or come later, ask them 101. I really like helping people. And well, I haven't yet found somebody who cannot be helped with open source. Alex?
Nikita, quick question. Yeah. So your meetup, is that online or in real life?
Of course, it's online because basically I'm challenging MIT and Oxford in a way. I'm giving alternative for people, but I concentrate on people from diprivileged and underrepresented groups. For example, ladies, or for example, I have people from North Africa. They're so smart. It's amazing. I need to study just to catch up. But because in UK, people have, so somebody from a rich family, a smart child, he can go to Oxford. So I will help him, but my priority will be to help a similar child, but from not so lucky background.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm from a poor background myself. We couldn't afford yogurt till I was 15. So, well, and I know what stale chocolates look like and what orange juice looks like when it's 5 months past due. We didn't buy that one, but yeah. Questions? So, yeah. Oh, I can show you some real stuff. Of course, sorry. So if you go, for example, I contributed to American Airlines a little bit ago, like a few days ago. But for example, you like finance, it's your true love. So you go to JP Morgan, you open the repositories. Don't do it without me because I don't want you to like find a job which you don't love. This one looks like cool, updated 10 hours ago, enough branches, not too good, done. I have contributed. I've increased the amount of stars on the repository. It's already a contribution and it actually counts here. And from this star, you will grow. We'll grow together and I will grow with you. And it's all free. So it will look like this. Recruiters love it. Yeah, that's the only problem you'll get, recruiters. Sorry, guys, they will try to reach you. But you have our RecWorks, they will protect you. That's all I had to say. So yeah, JP,
thank you very much.
That's my meetup.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions for Nikita?
I have a question. How do you find open source projects if you're starting out on a beginner's level? Like,
okay, tell me what do you love? What is the thing you love most in your life? Like, what brings you joy?
I would like to search for projects which are mobile application development. Say
okay, so Android, GitHub. Is Android good for you? Is Google okay, or like it's too bad for you, or it's like, well, done. We contributed to Android. So my idea is that I find companies which share your love and values and which are active. We find they're active in open source. We find their active repository. I help you to start contributing, and I help you to make it visible to the world. So the world needs to know, it must know daily, but not about your contributions, about these projects. Because it looks better, and then you have more material to speak about. So you can speak how you contributed to this file, to this one. So we can contribute now. We go here, README. We find something we can. Android using this is one liner, so I'm not sure I can. Normally I find something to fix, but literally you can press this pencil here and add something. So normally there's a dot missing or something, and you can erase pull request from here. On my YouTube channel, there's a ton of videos how to do this stuff. So the link is in the slides as well. So it's on my LinkedIn. So just come and talk, and we'll do it. And I also need co-founders and like co-hosts of the meetings, and please bring friends. Initially,
I'd like
yeah, Alex, please contact me and we'll make it happen.
Sorry for interrupting you.
It's fine.
I just wanted to agree and stress something Nikita said, which is that you want to be looking for active projects. You know, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of projects, and it's the active ones that should attract your attention. You know, to answer your question, it's Google search, it's finding the right companies, like Nikita says. You know, I've just been doing this a lot longer, so I just wanted to agree with Nikita. Thank you.
Yeah, so Apple, it's verified. So is Apple good enough? I guess they're. So, well, why not? It has 5,000 folks. Just do it. Let's just do it. Let's, Hannah, it's a challenge now. So write to me, and we'll make a recorded video on how you get introduced. But you'll have to write an article. Or actually, we'll do it together. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. This is such a beautiful idea. I would never have thought about mobiles. Thank you. That's all.
Fab. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sorry for the lightning. I'm just learning. And, well, there's my room looks like that, so like it's very hot here.
Yeah, that's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Cool. I'm muting, and just contact me, guys. Oh, and the last one. I initially I thought the group will be 10 people, and I'll be mentoring 5. Now I had 119. There'll be more. And I'm up for the challenge because I have good friends. So yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Nikita. Next up, I'm very excited to hear from Henna. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Abby. Everybody can see my screen? Okay, so in spirit of time, I'll just hurry because I have a lot of things to cover. Leveling up through communities. Okay, to introduce myself, I am very passionate about communities. I am self-taught Android developer, raised to be a leader with the help of communities, among the communities. And I strongly believe if we work and build together, we can achieve the impossible. Okay. So my story, before telling you how I started and how communities helped me, I would like to throw a picture of where I am today. Okay, so MongoDB has been my fastest progress of my career since I started back in 2010 till now. I mean, I have never had this fast progress ever before in any of the industries, IT companies I worked in, except MongoDB. And it happened because of my involvement, my work with the communities. So how it started. It has a progressive timeline. I will not go through all of that because it's going to take a lot of time. Before 2016, I was all working in non-technical roles, and I had aspired to work in technical field. And I moved to Dublin in 2016 from India. And 2017 and 2019, between that period, was my time of discovery of myself, of communities, of change, of everything. I was sad. I was depressed. I craved so much to end that situation, and communities helped me grow up from that period of depression I was in. I got scholarship from Google in collaboration with Audacity for basics Android and then advanced Androids. And I was working together with more than 1,000 people, helping each other in the projects, in question answering, in error solving, in everything. So it was like I was camera shy person. I had stage fright. All of things got away because of my involvement, because of my work with communities. And I gave talks. I was so scared of talks. I started giving talks from 2018 till 2019. And I'm proud of where I have come today because of that. So you learn more from failure than from success. Don't let it stop you. Failure builds character. Yes, 2017 and 2019, the period was a lot of failures, a lot of mistakes. I actually thought of giving up, but I did not. Communities kept me going. A lot of enthusiasm, a lot of motivation, a lot of energy that got generated working together was immense. That saved me. And I can surely say you all must have experienced that yourself, being part of the communities that you are today. But there was time, it was not an easy road. It was not an easy progression. It felt like this sometimes, oh no, I'm a strong, independent woman. Oh yeah, somebody pampered me. So during these times, I had my support systems. My support systems were my friends and family. So vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It is the courage to be seen when you cannot control the outcomes. I was so sad and I thought, I cannot do it. I failed, but my family kept me going. They had so much confidence in me, more than I ever had in myself. And they knew I can do things. It's just not the time that is in my favor at the moment. And then communities, that was my family away from family. I grew so much among them. So first image is when we graduated from our Audacity from our Android nano degrees, and we had a graduation party in Berlin. So all of that cohort, we worked together, helping each other in the projects and the nano degree projects we created, in talks that we did, in question and answering that we did. So it was a lot of amazing moments. And then there was a panel discussion that happened that I interviewed in bottom left, bottom right, yeah. So, and then I was invited to Google I/O conference, free of cost, by Google. And that was my first time experiencing such a big conference at a stage like that. So it was amazing. I mean, communities, I'm so passionate about it. So like, it's my go-to place whenever I'm sad, whenever I need help, whenever I want to kind of discover new things. It has been amazing growth for me being part of the communities, working together, helping each other, networking with others, finding like-minded people who have the same skills, who have same love. It's kind of helps a lot. And mentorship. So you need a direction in life. It's not always easy to go alone. And these were the people who actually believed more in me than I ever believed in myself. I felt I cannot do it. And they were the ones, you can do it. You have the skills. So I was lucky enough to found both of these two people in the current company that I am at MongoDB. And they have been an immense help to me. And yeah, I got promotion year after year. This is like, I'm on my hat trick now. So I'm kind of crossing my fingers to complete that hat trick. So the transformation timeline looks like this. So 2016 and 2019 was a lot of hard work, taught me courage, taught me strength, taught me to be wise, resilience, how to be perseverance. I mean, I was not a person who could keep focused on something. It was always, my focus always used to kind of dwindle a lot. And that period taught me to kind of have one-minded focus on things you want to do. And if you believe that you can do it, you surely can do it. And then moving on, 2019, when I got the job, it was my discovery of my own talent, of my technical skills. I actually helped grow my own team. I was the first person they hired for mobile application support. And I grew the team from 1 person to 5 people. And I helped build them up. And I taught the same thing to them, to build together, to help each other, to work together. And that is how you get the work done faster than you do it when you do it alone. And when I moved teams, they actually hired 5 more people to replace me. So that was kind of a great feeling to have. So yeah. So some of the reflections I have had, I always believed I'm not a technical person. I cannot code. but all changed, everything changed, that I can do it. And it was all because of the people, because of the community, mentors, family I had. So believe in yourself. You can always achieve what you think you cannot. Don't be afraid to ask for help whenever you need it. There's a lot of help available. You just need to ask. And yeah, inspire others. So I started this 100 days of code journey back in February, and I finished it in May without missing a single day. And it inspired 3 more people to join the 100 days of code. So I'm waiting for some time to kind of relax, because I recently came back from World Conference from New York. So I'm going to start it again. And if you're interested, please do give a shout. And that is all. Thank you so much.
That's really cool, Henna. That's amazing. The journey you've come on, that's phenomenal. Because I noticed one of your comments there was, I'm too camera shy. I can't do a presentation on video.
No way was that your first talk. That was great.
Thank you so much. No, this wasn't my first talk, but this was my first lightning talk.
And you kept to time as well. I think there was
You did.
bang on.
Yeah,
Thank
well
you.
done. Fantastic. So exciting. Any questions for Henna before we move on?
What's 100 days of code in a few seconds?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I had just last one. I was on mute.
Go, Nikita. What's your question?
I checked Henna's LinkedIn, and well, I was thinking like, it is me teaching her Android. I think she was just playing with me, asking like, how can I contribute? She can write it from scratch. That's it. So yeah.
So 100
It was
days of
amazing.
code, I started because I wanted to find the discipline and habit of kind of commitment to things that I could do. I wanted to test if I can kind of code every day. So I was not fixed on one technology. I was kind of doing everything. I wanted to learn JavaScript. I did that. I was writing articles on MongoDB and Realm. I did that and kind of continued it for 100 days. So like, I thought I do not have the discipline, but I did have the discipline to continue.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. In which case, we move on to Alex. Over to you.
Right, 1 second. Okay, I hope everybody can see my screen. This talk is point solutions versus integrated platforms. I was supposed to be focusing on data analytics because that's my field, but in reality, I'm not sure if I could fit that in. We'll see how this goes. I'm Alex McClintock. I've been a LJC member for probably over 10 years, since before I was a solution architect. I focus on data analytics and data science nowadays, and this topic is something that people always think about when they're developing software or buying in software, and they may not necessarily formally think of it this way, but they are probably making decisions in that respect. Constructive feedback welcoming, and I threw in that I'm available for mentoring, so if anybody wants to give me a shout. Okay, so in this talk, I'm going to, in the remaining few minutes left, I'm going to talk about point solutions and then comparing that to enterprise platforms, comparing the two with unfortunately a table, but we'll see how that goes, and then describe the compromise of what actually happens between the two. It's not a totally binary option of this or that. Okay, so definition. So a point solution is any tool or software that aims to address a single use case or challenge that exists within the business. Now, I'm kind of assuming that a lot of us are Java programmers, hence the LJC. But usually what we're building is a single tool or program that does one thing and one thing well, and that's the most common way of doing things, and that's the most common way of solving problems in a business. So That's fine. Here are some examples. So you've got a specific task. So you want to do a room booking system for your hotel. You might have, say, loads of messages that you need to transfer from one place to another. So Kafka might be a good option as a publish subscribe system for collating that. Or you might have a predictive maintenance task. You might have a fleet of vehicles and you want to know when to service them. So you'd look at the logs of information about your vehicles and perform machine learning to determine when the best time is to do maintenance on those vehicles. And these are all specific problems that you typically get a program, a point solution to solve. Let's move on. So the point solutions, usually they're the quickest time to value. You can focus on the particular requirements and therefore they have the most features. They're not necessarily lower cost, but you're not trying to solve your entire company's IT at once. So it's low, and likewise it's lower risk because if something goes wrong, only that one little system has gone wrong. Okay, the alternative is an enterprise platform, sometimes called a unified platform, sometimes an integrated solution. And there is no firm definition for this. So here are some of the things that you think about. So they're typically sold by one company. They're designed for multiple use cases, typically the whole thing that your company does, typically. And they usually provide common services available for reuse amongst different projects. They're usually well-integrated components, and that has to be key. And historically, they're a single data store, a single database, but actually that's kind of a bit beside the wayside nowadays. Now you can DIY your integrated platform, and a friend pointed this out. So they're not always sold. Sometimes you're actually building it yourself. Okay, so there are two main styles of enterprise platforms. Some you purchase because they're specifically for your industry and they focus on your industry vertical. Some of them do a particular area of work. That may sound like it contradicts what I was saying earlier. So in my experience, I focus on a particular enterprise platform that does data analytics and data science and so on. And they can be, that platform can be used for a whole bunch of different industries. I'm going to skip over the details of this and I'm going to hopefully fill in the details if I have time. But here are some of the technical benefits for integrated platform. So easy interchange of data, a common standard identity access control mechanism, unified error and event logging, and so on and so on and so on. And I think the hidden thing here is that what this is giving you is much better DevOps capabilities, much better data governance. And these are a bit more airy and less well-defined than before. So let's do some comparisons. So I'm going to let you skip over or read this in your own time if there's any of the features you're particularly interested in. I think the point is that if you're just buying a system that does one thing, it's usually quite quick to start up. But when you're doing the second or third problem, an integrated platform will usually be faster and quicker. And I've just described that with a standardized platform, it's a lot easier to do data governance, to control the data and make sure you're complying with your own rules. And also it's much easier to do data integration. Now I'm ignoring SAS for this talk, but basically it just speeds things up. So I mentioned that, and one particular advantage is that with an integrated solution, you typically only have one supplier. As a developer, you might not think of that very often, but actually it can be a pain if you've got lots and lots of suppliers, each offering you slightly different bits of software. Okay, so let's skip over that because I've talked over my time. This is a particular example of mine. This is where the data analytics comes in. So we use, traditionally it was just Hadoop, but you have HBase as a distributed columnar store, Kafka as a message publish subscribe system, Iceberg as a data warehouse type format. We have Apache Ranger as the access control mechanism. So this is the thing that loads of different tools have Ranger plugins to say, can this user do this? Can this user do that? Well, there isn't really a common event logging system. Log4j sort of does it. I wouldn't call it perfect for that. Apache Atlas is designed for a unified audit system. So the idea is that whenever the system does something that needs to be recorded for legal purposes or regulation purposes, then that gets fed to Atlas. And the point I'm trying to make here is that this only becomes possible as part of a integrated platform. If you're just developing one individual program at a time, not thinking about the platform, then you don't necessarily, you might have totally different ways of doing audit. And monitoring, let's ignore that for Apache. Now, I'm an ex-Cloudera person. I've been working with Cloudera software for about 10 years, as an employee previously, and it basically uses a lot of those Apache tools that it has made sure it works together itself, together with Cloudera Manager. And I think I'm just going to spend the last 20 seconds talking about the compromise. And the compromise is that the things that work about these enterprise platforms is that they have a standard set of APIs and interfaces. And if you have good APIs, for example, a logging API or an audit API, then you can still develop point solutions. And you just say, my point solution exists, but it's got to use SAML2 for authentication, or it's got to use so-and-so protocol for logging and monitoring, and so on. And so this is where the blur comes in, because as we develop standard APIs, then point solutions move towards enterprise solutions. I'm sorry for overrunning. That's me. I hope there's no questions, because that way I won't have run over time. Does anybody have any questions? Please unmute yourself.
It's okay. We're not so strict that we're going to like
cut
you out the room because you've gone over slightly.
I don't want to be that person who causes everybody else to be late or miss the beginning of the next talk.
Does anybody have any questions for Alex before we move on?
Yeah, a quick one from Rob. So, Alex, do you see open source enterprise platform around? Do you see them valuable if
well,
we want something capability?
Yes and no. The problem comes with I don't need my time anymore. The problem comes with having a single body that can present this as a whole. So even with an Apache, there's lots of things that start up, that get created and don't really work with everything else. And in Apache, it was the Hadoop ecosystem that kind of drew everything together. Not everything, but a lot of things together for data analytics. And so people made sure that they could work together. And companies like Hortonworks, MapR, and Cloudera took that open source legally and turned it into enterprise. Unfortunately, MapR got bought by Hewlett-Packard, Hortonworks merged with Cloudera. So there are companies out there that do it with open source, but usually it's in a kind of way that like the Apache license basically says you're allowed to make money out of our open source. You can do this, and so that isn't always the case. So yes, but hope that answers the question.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Any other questions for Alex?
Feel free to give me feedback later if you like, or via Abby. Hopefully she won't mind.
No, I'm happy if you want to message me, that's fine. Or as Alex has said, message him direct as well. That's absolutely fine. Well, thank you very much, Alex. So next, but by no means least, last but not least, that's the word, isn't it? There we go. I'll get there in a minute. We are going to hear from Corbena. Over to you.
Hey everyone. I thought I'd do a presentation on staying safe online. Now, it seems to be a thing where most people feel like they're safe online anyways, as long as they're using passwords which have a few numbers and a few letters in there. But I just want to let you know a few things about staying safe online in terms of what the internet hackers are doing, and also how you can do a bit more to better protect yourself. So before I start, I think I'll give an introduction, a little bit about myself, what I do, and a bit about my background. So first of all, I don't have a technical background. I'm an economics graduate, and also I had my route into software through a boot camp. So I currently work at EY as a software developer. Prior to that, I've been building computers, so I have quite a lot of experience, should I say, with hardware, and quite a lot of interest in there. And a few of my notable achievements are that I helped stop a Tesco club card cyber attack, and also I've developed software for over 1,500 active users, which is going on right now. With that being said, the presentation, the way it goes through is we talk about a vulnerability, then we have a small case study, and then following that, we have some notes on, how you can protect yourself. So the first thing, which is don't give hackers your password. And I think a lot of people will say, yes, of course, you wouldn't want to give a hacker your password, but hackers have some very interesting ways of getting your passwords these days. And so the first one is contact phishing. So you might get an email which looks genuine, or you might get a text message which looks genuine. A lot of the times it's not. And quite recently during COVID, one thing that we've seen is that someone might send you a text message and it looks like it's from the NHS, you put in your details, and all of a sudden you're compromised. And so that's the first thing to look at, and we'll also look at how to also avert that risk. And the second one is website phishing. And so sometimes with these emails or numbers that you get from a text message, you might get an email that says, go to this website and sign up for your contact tracing or where they might be. And through that, your details are going to a hacker's inbox. And so here's a case study of something that we can look at. This is just a spam email, and a lot of people might recognize McAfee, which is an antivirus software. And if we look at the email that's been sent from, we can see that that is clearly not McAfee. So that's something to look out for. And that's the same with text messages as well. So one thing to do is to always check to make sure that this email is coming from someone who's genuine, and that's one way to start protecting yourself online. The next thing is also, if you're getting a contact from a bank or whatever, you can look at the back of a bank card and get the contact that way. Moving on to the next vulnerability, don't use the same email and password. Another person might say, yes, of course, you shouldn't use the same email and password. A lot of people have been compromised just because of this vulnerability itself. And usually passwords are one that people don't reuse, but quite recently, emails have been pretty much the same way a lot of executives have been getting hacked. And so you might have seen on Twitter with Donald Trump as well. A lot of these vulnerabilities come from using that same credentials. Now, the reason why I shouldn't use the same email, which some people might not understand, is because your email can be reverse engineered and also social engineered. That is essentially someone pretending to be you if they know enough about you, such as where you grew up, for example, and where you might live, your postcode, or what school you went to. They can contact a software provider such as Microsoft, and they will give authorization to your account. And if we look at the case study, here's an example on LinkedIn. So we go to LinkedIn and you look on someone's profile, and you can go to their contact us. On the contact us, you've got their email there, which is available. And then we've got a second website, which is called Have I Been Pwned? Now, Have I Been Pwned essentially is a database collection where whenever someone's password has been leaked online, they put it on that website so that you as a user can go on there and see if you've ever been compromised. And based off that, you can change your password or change whatever email you've been using. There's a security called Collection One, and I think there's around 780 million emails and passwords. And so don't think you're safe. It's a very scary place out there. The final thing I'd like to go on is don't connect to unknown hotspots. And this one might seem quite trivial, as in, yes, of course, you shouldn't connect to a personal hotspot which isn't yours, but more often than not, we always do it. So if you go to a train station, you might connect to the hotspot. If you go to an airport, you might connect to the hotspot, the same with planes and the same with internet cafes. And the reason why you don't want to do that is because when you send your information across, when you connect to these providers, you normally have to connect to their proxy connection as well. What that means is that they can read your data flow through. And the issue with that is that your credentials are passed in your request that you make to a web server, and also your authorization, which is sent back from the web server, is also able to be compromised. Now, the reason why that happens is because requests are stateless, which means that whenever you send a request to a website, they don't know who you are unless you have these headers, and we'll go on to it in a second. Now, this is an example of me logging on to my work Wi-Fi at EY. And EY will say, to connect to Slack, you need to enter an email password to connect to our proxy. What that means is that EY, they can have access to all of the requests that I send to make sure that I'm not doing anything fishy, which is a normal standard protocol for websites. Now, if you connect to someone else's hotspot and you connect to this proxy, they can look at these requests that come across. And so the second example over here is an example of a website where we've got the response header. The response header has this authorization here, which is a set cookie. And this set cookie essentially means, hey, my name is Kwabena. Whenever I send a request, please give me the information I need. And so a hacker can obviously have access to this information if you connect to their hotspot. The second example over here is an example of a login. And so here's me logging into an application. I've got my number here and a hash password. Now, to a naked eye, a hash password might think that this website is keeping you safe. However, there's something called base 64 decode. It's online everywhere. You can easily use it. You put in the password and you get my clear password. And so with that said, it pays to be able to normally use a different catch-all email and password. And so a catch-all is basically an email which is registered by the @ domain. So email, if you see like, I don't know, at shopify.com and there's a lot of employees, that means that all of them are getting sent to a central email inbox. And you can do the same thing as well. So you always sign up with a different email. And that's the same with a password. So using a password manager means you can use multiple passwords. Another thing for payments online is using a disposable card. So just the same way that these credentials can be stolen through the request, if you use a different card, it means that you're much less likely to be compromised. And the final thing is to use Authenticator for two-factor authentication. So some people use their numbers, but quite recently it's been on the news that SIM swap gangs are out and active, and so they can really easily get your number and use that for authentication. And so those will be some takeaways and some steps to protect yourself in the future. And as a result, that will conclude the end of my lightning talk. If you want to get in contact with me, here's my LinkedIn, Kwabena and Kobia. And same way, I'm on the London Java community as well, so feel free to connect with me on there. With that said, I'll ask if anyone has any questions.
I've got a quick question, but I'm hoping somebody else has one first.
Go for Alex.
I mean, this two-factor authentication is the thing that it's a big thing for me. Yeah. And you suggest Authenticator. I mean, presumably that's not the only one. And you're saying that the text message back to your mobile is not a good idea. Have I got that right?
Yeah. So it's not specifically that's not a good idea. It's just that with social engineering, someone can acquire your phone number and also begin to receive your text messages. And so it normally happens to high profile individuals. If someone is trying to log into their account and there's two-factor authentication, then someone can do a SIM swap. That's what it's called, a technical term, get access to the number and also be able to log in. And Authenticator isn't the only one. Google has one, and so does Microsoft. But there's a bunch of different software like RSA as well for authentication to make sure you have different passwords all the time. And so that's something.
I had an RSA token 20 years ago, and it was a little device like that.
Yeah.
It basically had a number that was always changing every minute or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, that's beside the point. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Any other questions for Kwabena? I'll take that as a no.
Not a question, just a reminder. People don't use banking and public Wi-Fi's together. Wi-Fi's. Even if they say they're BT, well, you'll be surprised.
Yeah. It's never a good idea to use any credentials on a public internet, to be fair. So I agree with that sentiment.
Excellent. Well,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nikita, Henna, Alex, and Kobena for sharing those talks with us. They've all been really interesting and so different to each other as well, which is brilliant. We've got another question popped up in the chat. We'd like to know, to speakers, what software do you use for your slides or deck?
That's my question.
Yeah,
I was just impressed with everybody's slides. I don't know if we've got time for people to answer.
Yeah, we've got time. We've got about 10 minutes, so yeah, go for it. Nikita uses Google Slides.
I use Canva, quite easy to get going, so it's normally my trusted choice.
I was thinking about Canva. It was one of the first ones I found, and I thought you were using Google Slides actually, but that's cool. Cool. Thank you very much, everybody.
There you go.
I want to, I mean, people say nice things about my talks, but I'm always learning. I really am. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, all that's left for me to say today then is thank you to each of you who've spoken to us today. It's been great to hear from you, and thank you for joining us, everybody else. We look forward to seeing you at our next LJC event, and like I've already said, if you want to know more about the other communities, please do let me know. And if you want to find me on LinkedIn, my name exactly as it's shown on my display screen is how you find me, and I'll be able to send the YouTube recording over to you. If not, you can go onto YouTube, search for London Java Community, and it will be there in a couple of days. So give it till mid next week and it'll be there if you want to see it again. All right, thank you so much for joining us, and have a great afternoon. Enjoy your weekend as well. Take care.
Thank
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Live long and prosper.